only I could narrate the story of my becoming. The how, the what's, and when, and why I'm actually standing here. But then again, that is not the story for today. Today I pass by to give unsolicited, unconventional, I might even say provocative suggestions. But before I do that, I want to call to your attention the relationship between my dad and aloe vera. Yeah, you might be wondering, relationship? Oh yes. My dad turns to aloe vera for all his, as a solution to all his sicknesses, a solution to all his diseases. But then again, that is not the story. The interesting bit about it is the way he chooses it. Well, he will tell you that it's good for his body. Well, it's true. But then again, is it good for his taste buds? Because the face he makes as he chews it, that disgusting face, we are left to wonder, do you really have to take it? But then again, I want to call to your attention the disgusting face. That is the face I can relate to when I hear people talking negatively, people thinking cynically, people thinking negatively, people thinking small and mediocre. There is negativity disguised as constructive criticism. Well, there is constructive criticism, but then again, you have to sieve through the criticism. As I start, I will be asking 2 questions. 1, are you alive? Yes, that is the question. You might be wondering, alive? But my heart is pumping. Blood is flowing in my veins. I can do things. I am alive. I woke up this morning. I am alive. But then again, yes, you might be alive. Or you might think you are alive. The second question is, why are you alive? I will bring to your attention one of my favorite Bible verses. Romans 12 verse 2. Part A says, be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And no, I'm sorry, this is not a sermon. But I'm here today to ask you to think different. Do not conform to the ways of the world. Do not conform to the traditions. Do not conform to the ways you have been brought up in. I'm here today to ask you to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You might be wondering, what do I mean by this? We have all had people complaining. Well, I might also have complained about the politics of our nation, the condition of our country. But then again, I think it's time to dare to ask different questions. We are all complaining about the rate of unemployment. We are all complaining about the politics, our leaders. There are things we think they would have done differently, but I think it's good to ask ourselves today, what can you do for your country? Rather than what can the country do for you? I think it's time to get out of that rut of what the politicians should have done for you, or what your MP or your MCA should have done differently. It's time to ask, how can we help our leaders to achieve what we think we require? There's a story of a young boy. He suffered an accident to his head, such that he wouldn't understand anything in class. But then again, it reached a point where he saw Albert Einstein's quote on a mug. And the quote goes, you cannot solve a problem with the same mindset that created the problem. You have to come up with solutions by asking different questions. So his problem was he couldn't understand anything in class. So he reached a point and asked himself, I need to come out of that mindset that created my problem and stop complaining about it. And he realized his problem was not learning, his problem was learning how to learn. Well, no one teaches us that. I would also like to mention Apple. Apple as the company. Apple's motto, well, they might not actually even say it out loud, but then their motto is disrupting the status quo. That is their why. That is the why that drives them. Apple might not even be a superior brand, a superior software company to other companies. But why do we usually view people with iPhones or people with Apple gadgets on a different light, on a different level? It is because Apple dared to think different. We have some specific prestige associated to people who have iPhones, right? Yes. Because sometimes you'll even meet someone, but the moment they take out their phone, you will view them different. I know you know what I mean. But it's good to ask different questions. Dare to think different. Dare to ask different questions such as, why do we do things the way we do them? I was washing utensils the other day. And I asked myself, why do we always start with cups? Well, I found my mom starting with cups, you will tell me. Everyone, from my grandmother to my aunt, starts washing utensils with cups. I mean, I asked myself, why can't I start with the sufuria? Why can't I start with the plate? What is it about cups? What is it about after cups? Maybe you go to spoons. Then after the spoons, you do the plate. And then after the plates, you go to the big ones, the hot pots and the pans. But I got to ask myself, why should I start with cups? What will happen if I start with the spoons? Well, I might tell you to ask different questions, and you're wondering, where can I disrupt? I can't. Everything has already been done. But then again, it's not about asking the big questions. It's actually asking questions from the little questions, such that I asked myself about the cups. Just ask yourself, why do I start with cups? When you wake up in the morning, why is it natural for us to go to the toilet first? I don't know. Maybe science may tell us something different. But then again, it's good to ask different questions. There was a man, when he was crossing the road with his children, the traffic lights showed that it's time to stop and let the cars pass. But then again, he asked his children, it's time for the cars to pass and it's time for us to stand. But then again, don't you think maybe that means do not walk, but it tells us to run? But because we don't ask ourselves why things are done the way they are done. We just do things like robots. Like we just do things because has been instilled in us to do things the way they have always been done. I think it's time to ask different questions. It's time to stop complaining about our leaders. It's time to sit down and ask and have conversations that provoke change. Well, when you're different, there is bound to be a lot of criticism. When you ask different questions, like why should I get married at 25? Well, there is a lot of pressure associated to age limits and marriage. There's a lot of beliefs around money. But we need to ask ourselves, is money really the enemy? Well, there are quotes like, money is the root cause of all evil. But we really need to ask, is money the problem or are we the problem? Well, when you ask different questions, when you dare to think greatly and differently, you're bound to face a lot of criticism. But I quote Steve Jobs, as he says, "Here is to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things different, they are not fond of rules. They have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, you can disagree with them, you can glorify or vilify them, but the only thing you can't do is ignore them because they change things. Because they change things. They push the human race forward, and while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who do. Again, it's time to think crazy thoughts. Not the crazy thoughts that will send you to a rehabilitation center, but the crazy thoughts that Kenya is not hopeless. It is not a hopeless situation. Africa is not a hopeless situation. We are not in a hopeless situation. It's time to ask different questions. What can we do for our continent? What can we do to rise above the status quo? Above the beliefs? Above what the common citizens, or rather above what other people see you as? A story is told of a donkey who fell in a pit. The pit was so deep that the donkey could not, there was no way the donkey could come out. The pit was also not, was too narrow that the owner of the donkey could not climb down the pit. So what happened? The owner of the donkey called the whole village. The solution they saw was to just bury the donkey. Sad story, they had to bury the donkey alive. So every time soil was shoveled into the pit, the donkey would shake the soil off its back. And the moment it did, there was a higher step for the donkey to step. So it shook on the right, on the right, and shook on the left. After the shaking, it would step on the left and then step on the right. Why am I giving this story? I am giving this story because those who dare to think different, those who dare to ask different questions, again, they are faced with a lot of criticism. Your criticism might not necessarily come as soil being poured on you. But then again, I'm asking you to raise above the negativity, to raise above the soil. Shake off the negativity. Shake off the criticism. Well, take the criticism that only develops you. The criticism that only comes to expand you. So leave about the comments and the opinions that contract you, that make you small. Shake off complacency labeled as being realistic. Shake it off. Shake off the complacency labeled as thinking rationally. Well, you have to think rationally about life. But then again, I'm only talking about the mediocrity that is disguised as contentment. Someone will tell you, considering the rate of unemployment in Kenya, just take any job. Considering the economic hurdles everyone is facing, just have any job that can give you food. Just survive. Take any job to thrive. At least you will hear people tell you you're in a relationship. But what kind of a relationship are you in? What kind of a job are you in? Is it a job that is expanding you, or is it a job that is contracting you and making you small? Is it criticism that is making you go back to your cocoon and stay safe? Shake it off. But then again, do not stand on other people's necks so as to stand taller. And what do I mean by this? You will look at your friend. Maybe they are living in a one bedroom, and then you're living in a two bedroom, and you say, I'm lucky I'm living in a two bedroom, unlike my friend who is living in a one bedroom. But then again, why do you need someone else to make you feel bigger? You need not to stand in anyone's neck so as to stand taller. On to the next thing. Why do you label other people as bold? you will hear someone say, oh no, you have to do it because you are the bold one, right? Oh, you have to do it because you are more confident. But then again, I have to ask you today, who is born confident? Who is born bold? Well, you might say, well, I'm a victim of my circumstances. Well, most of us are. Maybe in your parenting, you are brought up to be this confident person. In your school, your school encouraged you so that you could grow in confidence. But I'm asking you today to think bold things. Think bold questions. Ask bold questions. And I'm going to tell you the common misconception there is about bold people. You might actually be fearing putting yourself out there, but you never know that your potential is intimidating another person. And then here you are living small, because when I step into the light, I will face a lot of criticism. When I step into the light and share my gift, I will not be good enough. No one starts as good. Start small, start badly, start awfully, but start. Put yourself out there, because everyone has a gift in this life. And it's only a gift when it's shared, right? If I bought something and then I say, this is a gift to you, not unless I give it to you, it's not a gift. I will tell you a story about when I was back in primary school. So it was announced that there will be an AGM, an annual general meeting, and there needed to be students to speak, to give different speeches. So we volunteered. We were, I think, 5 of us, but we were asked, not the 5 of us, we were told, now we need to know who will be the first to give the speech. And it's a common story. It's common for everyone to step back and let one of us step forward and volunteer, right? But then again, something in me told me, yeah, you can do this, you can go first. But then there's this something that tells me, oh wait, they will see you as Kimbelembele, right? Then, okay, so I pushed my friend forward. I didn't mind going in second. So I pushed my friend forward. Then she just went because she was pushed. And then it was announced. So the first and the second one. So the first one will be your head girl, the school captain. You can imagine how that felt. I almost said, no, I want you to go first. But then again, I'm just trying to show you that there are many other times you will lose opportunities because you are not bold enough, or because you think you are not bold enough. Well, I became the assistant head girl, but it still frustrates me to this day. Because, let me maybe ask you a question. Who is the vice president of Mozambique? Who came in first in maybe 2010 Olympics? Who came in second? You might be wondering why I'm asking these questions. And they are questions most of us can't answer. But it is easy to mention the president. It is easy to mention the first person. Because the world only dignifies excellence. Share your gifts. Share it in your own words. Do not fear, because fear is making you small. Fear is making you contract. When you can shine, when you can radiate, and the moment you step out, you might actually create a ripple effect by empowering others to step out, empowering others to shine their light. Are there extraordinary people in this world? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Most of us think they are. But then again, we are all born through the same way. We are all born of a woman. We are all conceived in the same way. So no, there are no extraordinary people in this world. I would like to call to your attention a quote by Theodore Roosevelt. It says, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes short again and again. Because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasm, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end of the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly. So that is his place. Shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Cold and timid souls. Interesting. I believe no one wants to be labeled as cold and timid, right? So I ask you to dare greatly. I ask you to think different. Ask yourself different questions. Ask yourself, if I do this, does it expand me or contract? Today, I pass by. I pass by to urge you, to persuade you. It's time to elevate humanity. Be the light in a culture filled with uncertainties, insecurities, and volatilities, and unrealized potential. Greatness is within all of us, and it is normal and it is divine. People think that when you're chasing greatness, they will give you this such excuses, sorry to say, but I have to say it. That you cannot chase greatness and still be right with God. Who said so? Chase greatness in your own terms. Remember, defy the status quo. Defy what people think. How do you elevate humanity? By sharing your gift with the world. Disrupt. Ask different questions. Questions don't have to be big questions. Just ask small questions. But questions that matter. Because your voice matters. Your authentic voice matters. And your actions matter. Shake and defy odds. Shake off negativity. Don't stand on other people's necks so that you can stand taller. Move. Share your gift with the world. As I conclude, I will also finish the quote on Romans 12:2, part B. Do not conform to the things of the world, but be transformed through the renewing of your mind, that you may prove that which is good, acceptable, and perfect will of God. Because I'm wondering, you didn't win the war with millions of other potential people like you in your conception for you to come and be mediocre. You are a king. You are a warrior in your conception. Yet here you are living small, living in your cocoon. So why? Why are you alive? Are you alive to elevate humanity, or are you alive to rob from it? Because if you don't shine your light, if you don't put yourself out there, you are robbing from humanity. If you are thinking small and thinking thoughts of, at least I have a house, at least I have a job, you are a thief. You are robbing from humanity. Hi, I'm Ruth Kimani. I am alive to elevate humanity. Thank you.